got to laugh, man. Go ahead, pull up a chair.
Hey guys, welcome to the Afterlaugh. I'm here with, you know, so I want to say good friend. We're not really good friends, but I like you, John. This is Jon Rudnitsky.
Hey, thank
we had a
you.
conversation right before about how he pronounces his name.
Yeah, it's a toughie. People always fuck it up for sure.
People, I probably would say Rudnitsky, but it's Rudnitsky.
It's Rudnitsky. I just decided to keep it, you know, make my dad happy.
What is
Stick
the
with
Rudnitsky?
it,
Is
hope that like Zach Galifianakis, you know, that it just like sticks at some point that I get
Benedict
to a point.
Cumberbatch.
Sure. Cumberbatch it looks like it sounds.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Rudnitsky people always get kind of tripped up.
Yeah.
I like John Krasinski, Jon Rudnitsky.
Yeah.
I want to do a movie with him.
Two studs, man. I like it.
John Rudnitsky and
So,
John Krasinski and Jane Krakowski's Jack Ryan's.
Now, is that name? What is Rudnitsky? Is that a Polish name?
Russian.
A Russian. I like how you said that with like a little bit of that fucking Russian attitude, like "Yo, motherfucker."
Yeah, no, I do. I've no like. I have none of that.
Are you Jewish?
I am
Ashkenazi then, right?
Ashkenazi. Yes.
Ashkenazi. Do you have a
You're saying it like it's Japanese.
Ashkenazi? You are Ashkenazi Jew. Are you impressed? I knew what that meant.
Yeah. I am impressed. I
I was going to marry a Jewish woman.
You were.
I converted to Judaism
You did?
to marry her. Yeah.
And you're sticking with it?
And the second I converted, she dumped me.
No. You got circumcised and everything.
Well, when you're an adult and you convert, you don't get circumcised. They just take a little vial of blood, like from a lancet from your penis.
So you're not. Are you circumcised or no?
Originally, yeah. If I was not originally circumcised,
Then you would have to.
then I
do it.
would have had to get the whole thing.
Wait.
And
So they take blood from your penis?
they take blood from your penis, they put it in a vial somewhere, and it's somewhere. Someone has a little pinprick of blood.
I don't understand the purpose of this.
I think it's just, you know, the Jewish tradition is just very rich in ritual. And
Yeah,
so you
but
just
what
need-
is this ritual of taking blood from the penis of a grown man?
Where are they
understand.
keeping it? Is there a database?
As
for
a
this?
Jew, there are just so many things I'm perplexed by.
Now, are you?
I want to be able to eat shrimp, and I don't want a prick near my
So
penis.
how Jewish are you? Are you like culturally Jewish? Are you religiously Jewish?
Yeah, I'm quite reformed. Yeah, no, I'm culturally Jewish. Sure, yeah.
Which is code for you're basically an atheist? No.
Yeah, I would say probably. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the day. Like if I'm in like a near-death situation, or I just want to book an audition.
Yeah, you have a big audition.
I become Catholic suddenly.
Or
you
a
know,
tur-
yeah.
Or turbulence on a plane, then you
yeah,
become very.
yeah, exactly. But I do feel that the general kind of curmudgeoniness and anxiety is in me, and I like feeling like Larry David and I are from the same
That's hilarious.
lineage here.
So you grew up in Jersey, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Jersey.
We're in Jersey. We're in the Jersey.
North Jersey, Bergen County,
Uh-huh.
right outside New York City.
Did you ever have an accent? You definitely don't have one now.
I don't.
No. Well, you have that kind of like, and I don't know if this is a Jewish thing, but you have that gravel that
Yeah.
everyone wants.
Yeah.
I want that gravel. I'll like
Yeah.
scream in an elevator sometimes before an
And
audition.
try to get it. Cue
know-
all the ambulances and
Yeah,
horns.
we get this sometimes, and this is part of the charm of the podcast.
It doesn't pick it up as much on the mic, but this will probably come through a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That was Tommy Wakefield.
Hey, just
Contribute to the
hanging by.
podcast.
Hey, Tommy.
So, you've always had like a gravelly voice, right?
Yeah, always. Yep, my mother and father both have a version of this voice. So
Oh, really?
I was destined to sound like I just like ate cigarettes for breakfast.
Which is great. I feel.
I love it. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever feel self-conscious about it?
No, but I sounded crazy as a kid. I had like a wild, like just like the crazy. It was just like I sounded like Daffy Duck.
It was gravelly.
Oh,
but
Mommy, I'm scared. It was like wild. People, I remember like older kids used to come up like, in school and be like, will you just say something? They would just want me to say something. Or people were like, do you have a cold? I remember growing up and people always asking me if I had a cold
Yeah.
just because of the way I
So then
talk.
when your voice changed with your puberty, then it kind of fit the gravel. But before then, it was sort of like Harvey Firestein or something.
Yeah, exactly. I've sounded like Harvey Firestein my whole life. And
Tommy
it's
Wakefield
just
has nothing
very
to do with Harvey
strange.
Firestein is.
Mrs. Doubtfire?
Sure, yeah, great movie.
Yeah. He's in that.
All right, so Jersey. Were you a typical Jersey kid? I don't know what that means, like wrestler.
No, I wasn't a wrestler, but I have friends who were wrestlers. My best friend was a wrestler, and Yeah, I mean, it was like a small town in New Jersey. You were like a half hour from the city, but it felt like, you know, you might as well have been in Ohio.
Yeah.
Really. But I mean, you on the weekends, you know, you could go.
Hey, we're going
Obviously.
into the city.
Yeah, we're going into the city. You
Yeah.
you're going down the city during the summer. You're going down the shore, but it was nice because it felt like we would ride our bikes everywhere. All the doors were left
Yeah.
unlocked. It was like there was one store, and it was called The Store. Yeah, literally, but Jerry owned it, so we called it Jerry's, and we'd all go there and get sandwiches, and we had a tab, we had a running tab, so like you wouldn't even pay with money. At the end of the month, the bill would get sent home, and yeah, we went to the same. My elementary school was also my middle school, so I went to school with the same
Yeah.
70 kids
Brothers
for
and
like 9
sisters?
years. Older brother, and then step siblings because my parents split and then got remarried, and then so there's a bunch of step siblings in
Yeah,
the
and
mix
it's
as well.
all good
and I'm close
on
with them
the
all.
family. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we're all good. We all get along. My mom and
Because I'm trying
Dad
to
get
find the
along.
childhood trauma that resulted in
led to
becoming
me
a
to doing
performer.
comedy. I think it was more that it was oppositely, I was overly coddled, you know, and told I was, you know, this
Told you're
talented,
special
so special, and
Yeah.
so that like I was just a ham, and now I've like am wandering the country trying to get drunk strangers in Raleigh to love me as much as my mom does. And
Well, no one will. A Jewish mom in particular?
Yeah,
No way.
Jewish mom, but yeah, no, exactly. So
So you're,
it's
one
an
of the things
endless
I like about
pursuit.
you too, other than you're a good guy, is
Thanks,
you
Bill.
got acting chops, man.
Get some
Holy
chops.
shit, man! You got like real. I always get bugged when I see comics, and I'm not going to name names, but we all know who they're good comics, and all of a sudden, because they're good comics, they're like, here's a big part in a movie or a big part in a TV show, and you kind of look at them going like, you don't know what you're. It doesn't bug me, but I always like it when a comic has like real
Can
acting
actually
chops.
act. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel
What do you have a first love with those two?
yeah. I mean, I think I've always wanted to act. That's like always been the dream, is doing movies and TV. But I think I've always been inherently a performer. You know,
Yeah.
like I guess what made me realize I love acting was making my friends and family laugh. So in a way, stand up felt like a natural
Yeah.
thing, and stand up feels like theater too.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
just a one man show
Yeah.
that you do for 15, 20 minutes
Have you
or an
ever-
hour if you're.
Have you ever thought of
in the
doing
road.
a one man show, or have you done a one man show?
Yeah. No, I am thinking about. I'm working on one at the
Really?
moment. Well, yeah, it would be a stand-up special, but it would have the feeling of a one-man
Like a
show.
Mike Birbiglia type of thing, or
Yeah, but more performative. You know, a lot of like what I see with like Sandler's latest special or Bo Burnham, and that kind of a way where it feels like more than just stand-up. It's a silly song, and then it's a monologue-y thing, and it's a character here, and it's,
Yeah.
you know, what Dana Carvey might do or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
like an hour-long SNL audition or something. You know,
Got
is
it.
what I would want it to feel like.
Speaking of which, one of the first
Yeah.
times I saw you on TV was SNL,
Yes.
and you did a Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
And
That's
not
what
to,
I would want
not to
the-
be a dick sucker.
Yeah.
That was fucking brilliant. Have
Thanks,
you seen
Bill.
that, Tommy?
Thanks, Phil.
Yes.
It was so good, it made me want to punch him in the balls. Because
Thank you.
because when people do, I don't want to say mime because it's not mime, but when people, what would you describe that as?
Yo, it is kind of a mime. It is a mime dance thing. It's
Yeah, when comics or actors do like a kind of mime,
Yeah.
it generally lacks a lot of specificity.
yes.
And it was just so clean and everything you did. Because I was like a dancer. Like in my life, I wanted to be a dancer. So whenever I see like really, really great act outs that are super clear and super funny, I'm always very envious.
Yeah,
And
thank
then-
you. I appreciate it.
You must got a lot of attention from that.
Dirty Dancing, that bit changed my life. What happened was I had an audition for Just for Laughs. At this point, I had been opening for people on the road, Santino, primarily Andrew Santino, and I had a callback for the Montreal Comedy Festival for New Faces, and I was like 4 years in, you know, and 4 years in, so I really didn't feel like I was gonna get it. You know, I wasn't there yet, and I got a call back for just doing my jokes, and then in between the time of my initial audition and callback, I did a small show at a black box theater for like 8 people. I was like, I'm not going to do jokes for these 8 people, but I was like, what if I just do this like little weird little dance? I'll do the Dirty Dancing thing with an imaginary.
Did you invent it right then?
Well, I had like done I always like would do this dumb bit in front of my friends where I was dancing with an imaginary somebody, and then they kill him, and then I gotta take the body, and then but I'm still dancing, and then I gotta and then I'm using her body to cook the burgers for the kids, and but, I don't say anything, I actually thought I didn't know how I wanted to do that. I was like, what if I do a talk show, and instead of Conan comes out, he does the little puppet thing, the string thing, I come out and I do that every time. It's like a different thing. I couldn't figure it out, but then I thought of Dirty Dancing. I'm like, that's kind of built into it. You lift her up, you drop her, and then it just goes from there. And so I did that, and I remember thinking, even at this tiny show, oh, this is something I do that no one else does. This feels unique to me. This feels like a special thing. And then I was like, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to try my whatever dumb jokes I was doing at the time. So cut to I'm at my callback for JFL. They think I'm going to come out there and do these jokes that they had heard me do already. And I just, the time of your life starts playing, I come out there and I do 4 minutes of
so
this
they had no idea you were going to do that.
mime murder act. And it's not like I was a mime comedian. It was just me figuring out, and still figuring out what I'm doing.
How many
on stage,
times
but
do
that
you
was
think you'd done that bit at this point?
At that point, I was working on it, leading up to it, but only a couple of times in front of an audience.
That's big balls that for a JFL callback, you switched the script.
Yeah, but it was, and I knew that at the time, but it also was I just knew that it was, I knew it was something special. I felt it, those are moments where oh, I need to go with this. And actually that goes back to me being as a kid and me performing. Mm-hmm. My first thing I did in front of my family was I would dance, and my family would laugh and enjoy that. But I was always pretty good at dancing. I would dance a different Will Smith song every year in the talent show. I was obsessed with Will Smith at the time. But it just made me think oh, the comedy and the dancing thing. What if I can merge these two things? These are two things I'm good at. That's unique, suddenly to bring those, I remember reading Steve Martin's book, and he was a magician for a long time. And then he figured out that the magic and the comedy, and it's that kind of moment. So I go out there and I do the Dirty Dancing thing. And I'm I'm not going to get new faces, but they'll remember me.
Mm. And how long is this audition? Is 5 minutes?
Yeah, you get 5 minutes, right? Okay. And this is a 4.5 minute song. So the whole thing is just the song.
Yeah.
It's just this one bit, essentially.
Yeah.
And I end up getting new faces. And I go to Montreal with just this dance.
Yeah. Which must be really a relief in a way, right?
Oh, my God. And I remember I was doing the bid in Montreal, and you do multiple shows there, and at the time Louis C.K. was at the height of who he was, and I had to follow him, and I was I can do that, because I know that this thing is wildly different.
Yes. And
unique and works, So but if I was going up there doing jokes, I would forget about it.
And maybe you'd feel nervous doing jokes. You feel less nervous because you have something very specific and choreographed.
And of course, I shouldn't say there are jokes. There are jokes within this thing. I'm just not speaking. But but it was just this perfect bit that I was really proud of, and that I rode all the way to Montreal and beyond because SNL's there. They invite me to showcase. So then from
so they see you at Montreal.
They see me in Montreal. They invite me to showcase in LA. I kind of and me getting Montreal was a huge thing. It was a first big yes for me. I was I got the call while I was working a kid's bar mitzvah. I was.
What were you doing the kids' bar mitzvah?
I was a hype man, I would get everyone up to do the cha-cha slide.
I would do that too, by the way.
Yeah, you did.
When I was in grad school.
Yeah.
Did you wear the little sequin vest and the bow tie?
I didn't have a sequin vest and bow tie, but that's amazing. Now I like to think
Grandma number one up for the electric slide.
You get Grandma up there to do the hora. Sure. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow. So you did that.
I sure did.
So you get it.
And my big signature thing was I could breakdance a little bit because then the dancers in the group would do their own little solos at one point towards the end.
Yeah.
And then
so you really did want to be a dancer.
Oh yeah, I was a dancer. I was a go-go dancer.
Right.
And then I would.
And you were on Broadway too.
But not as a dancer.
Oh, it wasn't a musical.
Because I can't sing. Can you sing?
Nah, I could carry a tune, but no.
I can't even carry a tune.
No, I can barely carry a tune. I was lying.
I remember when Rent was around, and I was out of graduate school, and they were doing all the revamps of Rent. And they were like, you gotta do Rent. And I'm like, man, I can't do Rent. They're like, you look like Anthony Rapp, the guy who Kevin Spacey molested, which is kind of like, fuck you, I'm better look, hopefully. Anyway, yeah, no, I was kidding. But so they kept, and I was like, I can't sing. And then I finally went in there for Rent, and I prepared like, not Glory, what's the big Rent song that he sings? Like with the camera, that nerdy guy. Anyway,
I can't remember.
he did it, and I got a call from my agent the next day. They said, yeah, don't go out for musicals anymore.
What? Yeah, because it was just so.
It was so bad. And then the next time I had an audition with a song, it was for a play about the Little Rock Nine. And they're like, hey, we want you to sing. And I go, I don't sing. They're like, what do you do for karaoke? It's all black actors, producers, directors. I go, what's karaoke song? And I just go, I don't know. I do like a Little Mermaid as a joke. Okay, do it. And the song was Under the Sea, which is a very racist song.
What?
The seaweed is always greener. And I'm doing like, I'm basically doing like a step and fidget, like black Jamaican crab in front of like black producers and directors. So that was the last time I'll ever say. Anyway.
Oh my God!
Yes.
What would I would give to see footage of this audition and
How do you think it
their reaction?
They let me
Where's that
finish.
tape?
First of all, not only am I doing a racist song, but I'm a terrible singer. So nothing about that is good.
Right.
In front of a black, like caucus of.
and
How
you're
did
doing
you-
crab hands.
And I'm doing.
So all of it, none of it's good. None of it's good.
None of it's good.
But kind of amazing.
So
They'll definitely remember that.
you're in Montreal, and so you follow Lucy Kay. Were you nervous before you? Followed
Oh well,
Lucy Kay?
that wasn't at the New Faces showcase. That was just at a different show they
Okay.
did there. But I just did Dirty Dancing at my other shows there
Yeah,
because I was like,
Yeah.
I was nervous, but I was excited. I was like jacked up because that was an incredible weekend.
Yeah.
You know, it was like my first big yes was getting Montreal. And
And then SNL's. Do you know
and then-
SNL's in the crowd, or you find out afterwards?
yeah, no, I know SNL's there. I know all those people are there. And I'm nervous, but like, it's also like the shakiness isn't going to be in my voice because I'm just like, have the benefit of just dancing this whole time. I don't say a single word in the whole thing.
The only problem with dancing, because if you're nervous, is you forget the choreography.
Oh, yeah. And I was not forgetting.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, that was not happening. I'm like, this is,
Because your choreography also has purpose, which makes it harder to forget. If it's just choreography like Janet Jackson shit, you're like, wait, what's the?
Yeah. Right.
But you have a whole story you're telling.
Yeah, I'm hitting punchlines.
Yeah.
There are beats, there are laughs, but built within it,
So SNL wants to showcase you. In
So I come
LA.
to LA. Yeah,
It's a different showcase for SNL, right? It's not. You can't just audition with that, obviously.
No. I had to do impressions and characters. So
Did you have to cook some up real quick? Or
I
did you
cooked
have-
some up real quick. That's
Who'd
what
you
I
do?
did. I did a former DJ working at Chipotle. I did John Mayer having a stroke. I did Colonel Bernie Sanders. I did Ryan Gosling selling a flip phone. I did
Oh, you did a lot.
a decent amount, but if you watch like Jimmy Fallon's, he's got like 35 impressions like the first minute somehow, But and then I did Dirty Dancing. I said this is the worst audition for Dancing with the Stars ever, or whatever was the setup for it. And then I know there's a couple I'm missing, but then I did a recap. I did a best of my audition at the end. So I said that was my audition. Let's take a look back at some of the highlights. And then I did a slow motion to Sarah McLachlan's "I'll Remember You." Did a slow motion recap of
Did I see you do that at Laugh Factory before?
I was doing it in my sets. Yeah.
Okay, I might have seen that before.
I started doing that in my sets. Yeah, where I would end my sets with, well, that was fun. A lot of memories made. Let's take a look back at some of them.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And
And I'll still do that in my hours sometimes.
What impersonations have stayed with you from the SNL audition? Are there any that you still do?
Not
Could you do any of them? I mean, I always want people, I know people that want to
Really?
like dance like a monkey, but are there any that you could actually do right now
not
from the audition?
that I still do. I mean, at the time it was like, it was Bernie Sanders and it was Colonel Bernie Sanders, which was like For a limited time, we're offering a single drumstick that is to be equally divided and distributed amongst you and your family. Whatever. It's fine. It's not. It's now on stage I do. I was doing Trump for a bit, but everybody does Trump and McConaughey.
Your Trump is really great.
McConaughey.
I gotta say though, a lot of people do Trump, but your Trump, I think it goes back to your dancing. The way you use your hands with Trump is very.
It's very
It's very specific and very good.
Yeah. I do Trump like I talk about how he answers questions the same way I used to do book reports in high school for books I never read.
Yeah.
Let's face it, Huck Finn is such a book, okay? And there are words and periods and more words, by the way,
You have
There's
really
a beginning
good,
and a middle.
You have really good act outs. Like, to this day, I feel like your late night set, I think you did Conan.
Yeah, just to
That was probably the most physical late night. Like, your whole set, the jokes were act outs. You know what I mean? You just do the football player for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I was like, that takes balls.
Did you have? Did you were holding a mic on that, or did you have like the little rent? Like
No. It was just
lavalier?
It was on my shirt.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hands-free mic. Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate
That's
it.
you have to request, I imagine. Like, hey, I need this because I need to do my act outs. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the, I never do that. Just for Conan, I go to a club. I'm not asking it because it's so weird to go up there. I just scream. Yeah. I just like put the mic in the stand. I just yell, and that gets people's attention. But on my special, I think I'll do probably a hands-free situation.
Do you have a special coming up?
No. I'm working on it. I'm kind of putting it together now.
Yeah.
My hour. Yeah. I've never done that before. So.
But you've been headlining for a while now, yeah.
Since SNL, yeah. So. Back to that. So they asked me to showcase in LA, and then a week and a week and a half later they asked me to screen test it at 30 Rock.
Okay, so you're in LA. They fly you back.
They fly me out to New York to screen test, and it's like me and 15 other guys, whatever, that day. And
did you know the people in the room? You're like, oh, I know you.
I knew some of the people. Barry Rothbart. And Julian McCullough. Oh, he didn't end up going to New York though. He got asked to, but he turned it down. And then my buddy Will Steven was there, and he's still a writer on the show. He's been doing well. He won an Emmy, so he's done well. But it came down to like me and him. I remember.
Oh, really?
So
they will sometimes take someone and hire them as a writer, but not as a performer.
Yeah. That happens. That happens quite a bit. Leslie Jones, I think, was initially hired as a writer.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I remember. So I go when I screen test, and at this point I'm freaking out because I was at that bar mitzvah like 2 months ago, and then I was at JFL. I'm showing you that and I remember I was opening for Julian McCullough at a casino in Minnesota, and I got a call from Lorne Michaels that I got the job.
Wow,
it was pretty insane.
That feeling, is that a feeling when you get that feeling? Because I've never gotten a call like that, but when you get that call, does it feel like? Is it a call that invites stress, or do you feel like, man, I've landed?
No, ecstatic. Yeah, I've landed. Yeah. It was everything you'd want that call to feel like. Yeah, I was screaming at the top of my lungs, running around. I called my mother. I called my friends. And also, I'm from the East Coast. I'm from Jersey. Grew up outside New York. I'm moving back to New York.
You had to be with your family, yeah.
To be on SNL.
That's amazing.
It's like,
wow.
So I called my friends. I'm like, I'm moving to New York is the first thing I said. Yeah. And they knew what that meant, but it was like, forget about it.
Yeah. And so you were on it for how many seasons?
Just one.
Just one.
Just the one.
Now, which is weird to me because one of my favorite parts of that season was your Patrick Swayze thing.
Yeah.
So now, because I've had a lot, by the way, there's so many comics on this podcast who've been on SNL, right? And a lot of them, they have a very deep love-hate relationship with SNL and with Lorne Michaels because on one hand, they open up the world to them.
Right.
Another hand, it's a very stressful environment, and they also, it never really ends. Like when I've done shows on Broadway and stuff, they always told me it never ends when you want it to end, right? Even if it runs a year, it's still too soon, or 2 years is too soon. So I imagine a season on SNL is still a huge, huge accomplishment. But the feeling when you weren't invited back, how did that play out? Was it something that you knew was coming?
Well, I guess I thought that it was possible. I thought it was like a 50-50 chance in my head of me staying or going. And
what are the factors that make that in your head?
Well, I fortunately, well, I had 3 things that made it on air, and they did well. 2 of them did very well, I think. One of them did all right, but other than that, those are 3 shows, and there's 21 episodes in a season. So you have to assume that besides those 3, I had a lot of table reads that didn't go well.
Yeah, and these are things that you wrote.
Things that I wrote. It's all, it's so much on you. I was the only new cast member the year I got hired. And so so much of it is on you to kind of write for yourself. And you go around, you're trying to find people to write with you. But I didn't know how I fit into the show. I mean, I threw this fucking audition together, I threw, Dirty Dancing was like this thing. And then I'm trying to kind of put all this shit together over the course of my entire life. Oh, I did that well once. I can do that, and it's amazing that it worked out. I mean, I put together a great audition, but then I got the job and I was like, well, that's all I have. You guys do it now. You help me now. Yeah. And we're like, no, they're like, no, that now the work begins. Now you need a bunch of shit. And I didn't know how I fit in. I'd write something. They'd be like, yeah, but what if you just dance the impression? I'm like, I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do it. So I didn't know how I fit in. They didn't know how I fit in. I think that's ultimately what happened. And I failed more than I succeeded there. And that's what it came down to is, but it was all behind the scenes. It was all, thank God, because people eat shit on air. And that's, to me,
I never saw you eat shit on air for sure. No,
I'm so happy that never happened. Everything that I did that I was proud of that made it, great.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's people, they give you a chance. Your first year's tough, and so I thought maybe I'll come back and maybe they'll work harder for me, and this is like my pledging season or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately they were like, well.
Yeah.
Because 2 of the sketches I wrote that went on, I wrote with Mikey Day, and Mikey ended up being a cast member. I think I would have had a tough time if I stayed. I would have had an even tougher time, and I think they probably knew that. But now I'm like, when I did my Conan set recently, I'm like, oh, now I'm starting to find my comedy voice a little bit more. Right. I'm like, oh, if I was on SNL now, how would it be? And I wonder that all the time.
What's great is that you can always kind of come back next time you got a film that you want to plug, and isn't that the dream now, to come back as a host?
Oh,
and be like,
of
hey,
course,
motherfuckers.
Of course,
yes,
that's a big one.
I feel like a lot of people come back on SNL like, yeah, I auditioned, I didn't get on, and now I'm fucking hosting.
Yeah, that's
Jim Carrey.
They always say it in the monologue too.
Yeah, Chris Rock.
Oh yeah, or Adam Sandler just sang about getting fired on there.
That's right.
I think that would be very cool.
So obviously the denouement after SNL was not very long because things started blowing up for you pretty quickly after that. What was the next? So
I did a Home Again with Reese Witherspoon,
which is huge. I mean, it's just, first of all, to get I don't think people realize, to get a studio feature when you're not necessarily known or a household name, or you're not in the mix with.
That was crazy.
How did that come about?
That was, I just had an audition. I remember when I got the call that I got fired from SNL, I was like pretty devastated, and I picked up and moved back to LA. I wanted to stay in New York, but I also didn't, because it felt like a bad breakup. Like, I don't want to stay in this. I'm here because of the job, and I know how to be unemployed in LA a little better than I know how to do it in New York. And I came back, and I was like, "Fuck, what version of this is it gonna be? What version of the one and done guy am I gonna be?" Yeah. And then I say, like, I landed on a bed of marshmallows or something, because it happened almost immediately. I left in September, moved down to New York in September, and I got the job in October.
Wow.
Yeah, so it happened pretty immediately. And so I auditioned for Nancy Meyers and her
Who's
daughter.
A legendary director.
Legendary. Yeah. Something's Gotta Give, and The Parent Trap, What Women Want.
Yeah.
On and on. It's complicated. So she's amazing. And so I'm auditioning for her and her daughter, who wrote the movie. And
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was that process just like you got? Did they know your work already? Did they know?
They love Dirty Dancing. I mean, this thing is like, this bit. I mean, Nancy had me do it in the room, so it got me all the way to Weekend Update. I'm doing it on Weekend Update, and then I'm like, well, I guess I wrote that as long as I could, and then it got me the movie right after. So in a way. So
how did that? I want to know how that works. So you go into this room. It's Nancy Meyers and the daughter and other people. I'm assuming they're producers.
No, it's just her and the cast and the casting director. It's the two of them and the casting director.
And you go in there and you read the lines with them, and then she goes, you know what, can I see you do the dirty?
Yeah. She's like, I love that Dirty Dancing thing.
You had
Would
no
you
idea
just
this was
do it? Would you mind doing it? And I'm like, of course I will fucking do it for you.
Did it
you have the
crush in the
music?
room there?
Yeah, and it went well in the room.
What about the music?
I got it on my phone.
You got it on your phone. That's so.
So I just
awesome.
I did that, and then I got that job, and Reese was amazing, and I got to spend 6 weeks shooting this thing in L.A. and it was awesome. It was awesome being on a set and having the trailer and hanging with Reese and Nancy and Hallie and shooting the thing. It was fantastic.
You didn't play her son. You played like.
No, Reese. It's like she's going through a midlife crisis, and 3 young guys move into her guest house.
And did you bang her in the movie?
No. My buddy Pico, he's the one that becomes the love interest. I end up helping her daughter, with her play, with her school play and stuff. So it's like a cute little side story. But I'm also in love with Reese a little bit too, and that's part of it.
Yeah, I think I met you when you were filming that, and I was like, "What's it like?" And you're like, "I get why everyone's in love with her. She's so amazing."
Oh yeah.
I also, it's so funny. I've talked about this with a few people, and you're definitely one of the people. Like when I met you, I mean, I guess you were like 21 or 2 when I first met you.
22.
And you were like a dude. You were like, a guy, like good-looking guy, but like. But then you see people get fit. You see people get fit when all of a sudden they become more famous, and all of a sudden and you're like, you're shredded now. I'm like, that's what happens when you start making it. You can always tell. Like Santino was, I would see Santino around. He was kind of balding. He was a little bit chubby, and all of a sudden he showed up one day like completely ripped,
shredded,
like
looks
frothy
great.
hair. And I'm like, you got a TV show, didn't you, motherfucker?
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell. It's for
because-
sure. Yeah, I look better than I did when I was 25.
Yeah, because all of a sudden there's a responsibility to your shareholders.
Yeah, sure. And it just and I can eat healthier and
Oh, you can
better
afford to eat, that's true.
you can afford to eat a little better than
Yeah. So after Home Alone,
Chipotle every day.
Home Again.
Home Again. Home Alone, Home Again.
I've always heard the phrase, TV makes you rich, film makes you famous. So was there a big jump after doing Home Again?
Yeah, I wish that I feel like that. I don't know if that is true and is holds true now. I mean, it definitely afforded me opportunities, from that. Yeah, I did some work on TV, and I got a pilot that didn't end up going, and I did a Mindy Kaling show and an Ed Burns movie, and then
Burns movie. What movie?
it's called Summertime. It actually hasn't come out yet, but it was an indie that we shot. He's the man.
So
He's the
cool.
coolest
Ed
guy.
Burns is the fucking tits, man. You kidding me?
The tits. I can't even.
Having being in New York in like the late '90s and shit, when after Brothers McMullen and all of his films,
Oh my God.
all you wanted to do was get in an independent film with Ed Burns.
Yeah. Yep. And we shot it in Long Island in the summertime. And it takes place in like 1986. It was I'm in like a puka shell necklace and short shorts all the time. But Eddie and I have stayed close. He's the coolest guy in the whole world.
Yeah.
I stand by that. And then I just did Catch 22. I shot Catch 22 last summer for Hulu with George
that's
Clooney.
out now.
That's out now. Yeah.
I was not going to watch it, but I'm going to watch it.
All right, check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Good stuff.
So, is there any stuff that?
Clooney and Ed Burns, pretty cool guys to be hanging around. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Unbelievable.
Holy shit. You got Clooney on speed dial too?
No, I actually joked about that on Conan. I talked about that. I was like, I spent 3 months with Clooney. I thought we were going to be best friends. And we got along just fine, but I don't have a way of contacting him now.
You have to go info at GeorgeClooney.com.
Not even an email. Yeah, that's what I said. I said George Clooney at Hotmail or whatever I am. Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely got along with him. Eddie I stay close with, but George is, I guess I'm just a different stratosphere.
About the Eddie thing. Let me just do a quick solipsistic turn and make it back to me. Eddie Burns saw a play I did on Broadway.
Yeah.
Called Lombardi. And he had a show. I'm an asshole. He had a show on TNT.
Yep.
It was a series called
Public Morals.
Public Morals.
Yeah.
So I auditioned for it, and apparently my friend who got cast in it said, look, Eddie's interested in casting you for this role. He asked me about you. He wanted to know like what your story is, if you're a good dude, because he likes to work with people that he thinks are good people too, apparently.
Oh, yeah. It's a very positive set.
And so I was waiting for that, and then they hired that albino-looking guy with the blue eyes. What's his name? He's even more albino than me. Anyway, but everyone loves him. He's one of those guys, and his girlfriend, he's married to Christy Turlington.
Yep.
just a charmed life. Was she around? Was she around on the set?
No, but I was just at their house in the Hamptons for dinner. So I got to tell you that they figured it out.
They figured it out.
They sure did.
They broke the matrix.
They
got kids and shit.
Yeah, the kids are cool.
Kids are cool.
Everybody's good looking and cool and happy.
Fucking Eddie Burns,
Just
man.
get to his house. It's like cool vintage cars in the driveway and friggin', wiffle ball bats on the front lawn. Like, these kids are living a good life. And
Yeah.
But he's just like, he's a really cool, down to earth guy. But when we were shooting the movie, like, little kids from the neighborhood would be like, Eddie,
Yeah.
I tell you, Dan, I should have won. You know,
He
like,
shot in where, Long Island?
Yeah, Long Island, Atlantic Beach.
I remember when he was first doing his movies, one of the things that people talk about was that the craft service was like his mom, and then his brother would do
these
like
guys, everybody,
family.
everybody's a buddy, and he's a a local legend, and
So now
New York icon.
and the TV and film stuff has taken off. If you were at this is like a weird hypothetical, but I always get asked it. If you had to give up one, like if someone said, "Hey, you can't do stand up or you can't act," and you had to make a gun to the head decision about that,
between those two,
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. That's really tough.
Even for a year, just to give up for a year.
In this hypothetical, am I like for sure acting a bunch? Like I'm guaranteed to be like on film sets.
Yeah.
That year.
Yeah.
But I can't do any stand up.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I love doing stand up. I would love hate with it, but I mean, for the most part, like I love that I have this thing that I have full control over, that I can create.
Yeah.
And I hate being at the Hampton Inn in Raleigh as much as I love it. It's like this, it's like, it can feel so kind of sad, but also romantic and amazing. And that you're like in these random places and you're making people laugh. And there's those nights, and the thrill of live performing. But I don't know. I think acting is the ultimate dream, but I like to do them in tandem.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I guess if I had to pick, I came out here to act and do
course.
that. Yeah.
And if you have like a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, is
Yeah.
there something that do you look at yourself as someone who's more of a performer or creator? Like, do you have stuff that you want to say in terms of scripts or screenplays or content, or do you go, man, I'm a gun for hire? I know that with like Key and Peele, apparently, Jordan Peele was always like, I have an idea about what, and Key was always like, I'm a gun for hire. So whatever the fuck I'll do, whatever the fuck it is,
Right. Yeah.
So where do you fall in that spectrum?
Well, I definitely like to create my own stuff, but I think generally I like the idea of being a gun for hire. I mean, I think it's easier, right?
Yeah,
it sounds nice. There are people I think I'm still like fleshing out my voice and that stuff. So to get hit up by somebody hired by somebody who knows what they're doing and that's their thing, then I'm like so happy to just like pop on over, to get hired by an Ed Burns or something where I'm like, well, I'm in their hands. I'm working with that person now. And that's so great. And I feel safe in their arms and doing,
I know when I first came to LA, everyone said, have a pitch ready. So when people see you and they go, what do you got to pitch for me? You have something other than, Is that something people ever told you? Do you have like a pitch lined up?
I don't. I should. Because I definitely have like ideas and things that I'm always like constantly like working on or thinking about. But I wish somebody gave me that advice, actually. That's a good one.
Because people will at the Laugh Factory.
You have yours ready to go, I bet.
My first pitch I ever had when I was first out here, 2005, 2006, I got approached by, check this out, this is how long ago this is, AOL or Yahoo.
Okay.
They were like, we're doing content. What's your pitch? And in 2005, this is my first year in, Jamie Masada, the owner here, was like, buddy, you're too stiff. You got to do character, make yourself. So I did a Russian character. I went on stage going, hello, my name is you're gay. I'm from Moldova, which is like white trash of Russia. People say, you're gay, you're white trash, you probably sleep with sister. I say, fuck you, we're in love. And that was like an opening joke. And I would do this, but I would do the whole set as this character.
As this Russian guy, yeah.
This poor, depressed Russian who was here illegally. So they wanted a meeting with me, and I pitched the show, and I basically pitched fucking Borat. before Borat. I basically said, okay, he's a Russian here. He's he's traveling around. He's doing comedy, and he has a wife who's trying to find him. And after the show, the audience, they don't know that I'm actually an actor. They think I'm really illegally in Russia, and like I get chased by INS and blah blah blah. And they're like, that's so stupid. The guy literally is like, that'll never work. He told me that in the room.
Wow. And where do you go from there?
Yeah, so that was my first pitch bet idea.
Yeah. And where do you go from there in a meeting like that where they're like, nope? Because I've been in a meeting like that. Yeah, I did. I remember pitching something to somebody at Comedy Central, and it was like, I had an idea for like a comedy version of Black Mirror, you know? And in the room, he's like, well, just so you know, we're hearing a lot of pitches we're not looking for like a comedy version of Black Mirror right now. It was like on the nose of exactly what he didn't want to hear. And we're like, well, we need to be frank with you. That's what we were coming in to pitch. And he's like, all right. He's so like, well, let's talk. So let's find something else. He was really nice about it. But
that's great.
Yeah.
And then my other pitch, and then I had then my other pitch was about, I have a daughter from a one night stand, and the pitch is called, I met my daughter on Facebook. And that one, and I don't know if you've ever gone through the pitch ladder, but you do the meeting, and then you wait, and then you have another meeting, and then like you wait. It's a very like emasculating process, I find, and maybe because I'm not good at it yet. I don't know.
The pitch process.
Ugh.
Yeah. It can be tough. It can be tough. It took me a while to like get the hang of pitching a show.
And now you feel like you got it.
Yeah, I think I've gotten better at it. Definitely.
What is the tip? What tips would you say there are for like pitching?
God. Well, I go in with my writing partner, and we just like banter, and we've both gotten better at stand-up over the years. I think doing stand-up really helps.
Yeah.
Pitching in the role.
So you guys have like a banter going back and forth.
We know what jokes are gonna hit, but we know how to make them sound kind of organic, and I think, Whereas we used to have like bits that were like, oh boy, is this rough. Like you can tell that we're doing a shtick, and I think it's gotten better. I remember the first time we went into pitch, like the chair it was broken, and it just started lowering as we were bombing. Like my chair just started going down until my chin hit the table. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's all tough. I mean, every audition I go into, every pitch I go into, every show I go into, I'm still always nervous. Mm-hmm. It's always different because it's always different. Mm-hmm. You never know how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
And I want it bad.
Yeah.
So like, the more I want it, the more nervous I am.
Yeah.
The more worried I am.
Now, as an actor, do you have a dream in terms of what does it look like to have fully? Is it an Ed Burns type of scenario?
I think it's like a Steve Carell type of scenario.
Like late night talk show host?
No, more like Steve Carell, because what I see with him is like
Steve Carell. I just fucking said the wrong
Steve Colbert. Steve Colbert.
Yes.
Yeah. Carell, because it was like or Jonah Hill or something. These guys who like get to work with like Apatow and do all these comedies, great comedies. And then he goes and does Foxcatcher, or Jonah Hill goes off to direct mid-90s.
Like really dark shit.
I'd love to do like cool comedy, and then go off and do like really serious, interesting, and work with cool directors, Yeah. I'd love to have that kind of.
Well, it sounds like you got that, man. It's all happening for you.
I hope so. I think I definitely have gotten to do some cool stuff. But I remember last year I said, if I get this Catch-22 job, if I get to spend the summer in Italy with Clooney, like I'll never want for anything ever again. Now I'm like, nah, fuck, you shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have said that. Yeah, now I need the hit. Now I need it.
Well, you got my podcast, bro. You know what I mean?
I'm up and up. Up and up. We did it.
Dude, I'm so glad you came by.
I'm so glad I came by. Thank you.
You're such a great comic. Such a great. I also want to give a shout out to your Tom Cruise bit. Also one of my favorite bits.
Thank you. I'm fleshing that out, so that's still evolving.
Oh, that's still evolving?
That's evolving.
It's such a... Have you heard that bit, Tommy?
No, I haven't
Even
heard that one.
the initial joke of the bit, and I'm going to mutilate it. It's basically like, I think it's like 10 years ago, Tom Cruise decided to stop acting. I mean, he's still doing movies, but he's not acting.
He's done with the acting part. He's just fucking running. From set to set, shedding leather jackets along the way.
Do you think you have a whole hour of just kind of act outs like that?
That's what I'm really working on.
I think that would be fucking tits as fuck. I think that's the move, man, because no one else. would do that.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm working on right now. And I think it's, 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
It'll be ready to go. We'll do it on Netflix or something. We'll make it happen. I'm determined.
Yeah.
And I want it to be a friggin' show. Like I just saw Martin Short, Steve Martin at the Hollywood Bowl, and it's like my 5th time.
Wait, you saw who at the Hollywood Bowl?
Martin Short and Steve Martin.
Really?
Yeah.
So Steve Martin's back performing.
They perform together. They do a tour together. It's on Netflix, their show that they did together.
And what is the nature of the show? I don't know.
It's just like they do a whole thing. They do a whole hour of 2 hours. They do like 2 hours. They banter a bit. Martin Short does a little song. Steve Martin plays the banjo for a bit. They interview each other. They go through old childhood photos of themselves.
Yeah.
The show starts with a bunch of like highlight reel of their best stuff. So incredible. But my main takeaway was, and I think this every time I see Martin Short, the guy's in like his 70s,
Yeah.
and he is, in a naked onesie, like a skin tone onesie, dancing around, like hitting his crotch. He's jumping on the piano. He's all over the place. He's sweating, he gives it everything. And I'm like, that's what I want my hour to be. I have no excuse to just fuck around with any stage time,
Yeah.
So I think I'm trying to use my stage time now to really put on a show, even if I got 10, 15 minutes at the Laugh Factory, really utilizing that.
Yeah. Very cool, man.
Try and build towards that. So I'm glad you said that, because that means I'm on the right track.
Yeah. Well, sounds so stupid to say, but I'm a real snob about act outs in physical comedy, because I feel like I do it and I know it, and I was a dancer, so I kind of, when I see people who are when I see actors who all of a sudden, when I was coming up, a lot of actors wanted to be John Malkovich, who was a very physical actor when he was doing theater, and they would just doing and I was like, you're not a real you don't really live in your body the way he does, and you're putting it on to
and it doesn't work. You can
it
see
doesn't
that.
work. You can see
Having
it.
that dance background gives you a whole different perspective on movement.
Yeah.
That's why if I were to but that's when I'm starting out in comedy and I'm trying one-liners and I'm like this, because that's what comedians do, or I'm supposed to be like this, leaning against the thing, because that's what comedians do. So it took me years to figure out once I did that dance, it changed things for me. I'm still figuring it out to this day.
Yeah.
But it was a change in my mind of this is what I do. This is how I perform. This is.
Yeah.
It's great. And the great thing about that too is if someone said, I want to steal Jon Rudnitsky's Tom Cruise bit, they wouldn't be able to do it.
Right.
Which is the coolest part.
That is cool. That's right.
All right, man. Dude.
Unless you're John Malkovich.
Unless you're John
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Bill.
Yeah, dude. You're great, dude. So I'm so glad you came, and thanks for showing Afterlaugh. Anything you want to plug? Coming up, Catch 22's on Hulu right now.
Catch 22's on Hulu. Check out the Conan set on YouTube. And I'm going to be in Kansas City this weekend.
Okay, well then we'll have to put them out soon.
Yeah. Put them out tonight.
Oh yeah,
Put 'em out tonight. Yeah, let's put them out tonight.
There'll be other shows.
Awesome,
Check
man.
out my Instagram.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
It's the Afterlaugh. Welcome to the Afterlaugh. Afterlaugh, man. Go ahead, pull up a chair.